July 13th, General Government Committee meeting to order. First of all, I need approval of the agenda.
Move to adopt the agenda.
Moved by Pulaski, supported by Walls to adopt the agenda. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Moving on to item 3, public comment. Any public comment? Don't look like we have any public out there. Move on to item 4, the committee items. We need to review and approve the minutes for last month's meeting. Moved by Snell, supported by Pulaski. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Move on to appointments. And last I looked, we have one appointment. That would be a Material Management Planning Committee, specifically elected office of a city or village. It is vacant, has not been filled yet. If you know anybody that could fit that description, try to recruit them. Otherwise, we just keep advertising. So, anybody have anybody to appoint, nominate? Okay, we'll move on from that one. Moving on now to finance. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So-
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Good. So I am here to go over May's financial statements. If you look at the benchmark, we are 5/12 of the year, so at 41.7%. Our year-to-date percent totals at 42.2%, and our year-to-date 3-year expenditure average is 41.4%. I did look at last year, and we're pretty much right at where we were last year. Our year-to-date expenditure percent total last year was at 42.7%, and our 3-year average was at 41.2%. So I'm not seeing any concerns, even though it kind of looks like we're at above our benchmark. We're pretty much where we need to be at this time of year. And then looking through revenues and expenditures, the next couple of pages, I do have some notes next to certain line items. And I just see if there was any questions on the rest of the financial report.
Any questions on the review of the notes, board? Those are helpful.
Move to receive the report.
Okay, we have a motion by Pulaski, supported by Willis to receive. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. Thank you very much. It passes. Thank you for the report. Thanks for those notes on the side. I think those are helpful.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have IT. Welcome.
Good morning. So I'll jump right into the ticket year-to-date statistics. We are trending pretty well, as we always do by this point in the year. We're at a slight increase, about 2% over where we were last year at this time. Keeping track pretty well in terms of turnover times, and the amount that we're holding open at any period in time have been pretty consistent as well. Department by department tracking, again, there's been a little bit of changeover, but nothing drastic has been impacting anybody's services to any great extent, more so than past years. Looking at our GIS systems year to date, we are a little bit behind on some of the processing in GIS this year. We're back to catching up and getting things positive again. We did have a staffing disruption there the first quarter of the year. We had an employee leave, and so we were down to a single person. Well, we refilled that spot, but we do have somebody in place, and they are trained and up and running, and so we are getting back towards even on that and moving ahead. The other big project that has been ongoing there is a full revamp and upgrade of the underlying systems that run all of the GIS apps that we operate. So that is almost completed at this point, and then we're going to be doing a app by app review of all of the individual ones that are out there. One of the most popular being like the snowplow tracker. So getting those apps modernized, getting them functioning a little more reliably moving forward before we get into the next season there. Touch on a couple of the major projects we've had. The on-base upgrade was something that impacted several departments. We had an upgrade that was contracted with a third-party vendor, and it took roughly 9 months to complete, a little bit over that actually. There was changeovers in terms of the project managers involved, of the people doing the work, of the version of the software that was actually being deployed during the upgrade. And then there was quite a few issues that we had to resolve with our team after the upgrade had been pushed to us, and there were problems involved with it. So that was definitely a character building experience for everyone involved, but we have successfully come through that at this point and gotten everything where it needs to be. We're still going to be evaluating some things going forward, including our relationship with that vendor, but that is something that we definitely want to make sure we have plans in place to not have to repeat in that framework going forward. Another big thing that came up was an ADA compliance review on our website and what gets posted out there. Janet in our office, as well as several of the other people on the team, were involved with working with all of the departments that post data out on the website. The federal compliance rules have changed to be much more specific in regards to what we have to do to meet disabilities for vision impaired, specifically vision impaired, but other types of disabilities as well for our website. So in terms of what kind of videos we have to have, what kind of accommodations we have to have, how the screens behave and how the wording behaves if somebody is using a screen reader to translate the web pages for them. So we did quite a bit of work with that. And have gotten ourselves into a pretty good place, and then the feds moved the deadline back a year. So we'll be hitting the actual deadline, I believe, April of next year. And so we'll continue to review that and refine that process, but the bulk of our work has already been done there. Laptop and desktop vendor evaluation, we have been, in addition to increasing prices, we have had a lot of service issues with trying to get responsive service from the Dell vendors that we've been working with at this point for a number of years here. This has been fairly universal and has been impacting a lot of clients out there. We're evaluating Lenovo right now as a competitor. They used to be IBM way back. They're the ThinkPads and produce that. So again, another mature brand that's been around for a long time. We're going to be getting some demo units in, evaluating them, and see if that makes sense for us to move towards organizationally going forward. Let's see. Can skip those last couple. I'd like to take a couple of minutes today to just talk about a couple of our major software environments that we host that really drive a lot of the organization and make up a lot of what my team has to deal with and support. These are all systems that are going to be going through some changes, and they all impact a large amount of the county operations and business, and they get called different things. And so even though we're not doing anything new with them right now today at this meeting, they're all going to be things that we're going to be hearing about over the next year again. So the first one I want to look at is Tyler. Tyler is a whole platform of products. Different people will call it different things depending on what they use it for, but in total, it's the software suite that runs our jail, runs the dispatch and CAD environments, runs our law enforcement records management system, and it is the software that drives what they do in the patrol cars as well. So it also handles the mobile units. So this is not just for the county. We also provide and operate this system for all of our local law enforcement partners as well. This has integrations with a lot of other systems, including the prosecutor's systems, jail medical system, the sheriff's mobile applications for community interaction, the CAD to CAD environments when we're talking about over the last few years where we've done work with Lenawee County and we're doing work with Hillsdale County and with Emergent Health to be able to share CAD calls that go out to where people aren't retyping or trying to play a game of telephone when they're trying to transfer calls to another emergency management provider. This is the system where those calls are originating from. And so this is the source of that data. In terms of the footprint it has in our data center, it takes up about 15% of all of our computer resources in our servers. About 19 servers are running just dedicated to this suite of programs. So it is a significant load out across our system. Currently, we have 340 users running on it. Our team manages those user accounts primarily. Some of that also still goes through dispatch, and we work kind of in partnership there to make sure that everybody's needs are being met as quickly as possible on it when an issue comes up. But access to the program, the hosting, the on-call service to where if somebody needs an account reset in the middle of the night or on a weekend, that is something that we do both internally and we also do for all of our public safety providers out there, including working with Michigan State Police as well. So on that earlier slide where we show a lot of the external calls out there in that one column on the end, a lot of those calls are for support of this system. So that's times where Jackson City Police Department or MSP or other vendors are calling us for assistance on that. That one is going to come up in future conversations because we are now in our last on-premise, on-site version of the system. It'll last us a few more years, but the company has moved over, like so many others, to a cloud-based platform. And so it's something that we've already started looking at and evaluating to see what's the impact and the cost going to be to either stay with it, or I know, there's conversations about are there other vendors out there that we could work with that provide a similar suite of services. So this is something that will continue to come up as we go forward with it. BSNA software. This one is really our enterprise resource system that handles finance, handles treasury, handles HR, payroll, equalization. A lot of the business functions that we do in the county are all run through this system. So all of those day-to-day operational pieces are touched in this software. It's not as large from a technical perspective, but because of the number of users it reaches, it has a large impact on our support as well. This program is approaching its end of life within the next year to 2 years. It's running on a very old version of the system. The company has gone through some transitions and is providing a online version of the system as well. So that is going to be something that within the next year we're going to be having conversations with.
I have a question.
I have a question about BSNA. I've been approached by some townships that are contemplating and they believe that there's a lot of excessive costs with BSNA. Is there an opportunity for us to find an alternative vendor, or is it too many units that it would take to switch it over that it's not cost effective, while BSNA would be inexpensive in itself, but the modules would cost too much to, switch it over? I'm just trying to understand, is it something that we should go out and look for an alternative, or do we believe this is the best place to be?
We are absolutely going to be looking at alternatives. We are working with BSNA to see what their cost proposals are. To give you an idea, they have come down from this initially, and we have not gotten to a final cost proposal for what the system would look like, but their original offer was nearly 5 times what we pay per year currently, which was a very short conversation. So there are other vendors that provide these same services. Tyler being one of them through their Munis application suite. There are, I would say, probably about 2 other vendors that could do everything. There are other ones that could do pieces of it where we'd have to look at it from a modular perspective. The one caveat to this is the state has only at this point approved BSNA for the assessing component. So we have to stay with BSNA for that one component right now, but the state is actually now entertaining other vendors as well. So we hope that's going to loosen up as a restriction moving forward. But the cost proposals that we're seeing are high enough that I feel we've got to do our due diligence to say, even if we stuck with that for the assessing component, what would it look like to move the other components out? So no final decision has been made there yet, but we are evaluating that as an option.
So more to come.
More to come on that, and sooner rather than later. The next steps for us are going to be to pull in some stakeholders from each of the impacted departments, look at those other vendors, get the show and tells done, give BSNA their chance to address the concerns that we have with them, both on price and functionality. And to their credit, I will say they are working with our equalization department and have been shown that they are now much more willing to work with us on some of the other concerns that we initially had with them when the conversation started. So they're not out of the running yet, but we're definitely going to make them work for it. Because no matter what, whether we stay with them or go with a different vendor, it is a totally different experience. It's a different application than what we had due to the amount of time between where it was originally installed and where it's going. So staff are going to need to be retrained. It's going to look different. It's going to feel different regardless of which way we go with this.
So we're looking at cost no matter what.
Yes. Yeah. And it's reflected in the budget requests and the conversations that I've been having with administration for next year. So when we get to that step of the budget conversations moving forward, that is in some of that cost request, because we are anticipating that to increase. So the third one I want to touch on is one I've already talked about a little bit today, which is OnBase by Highland Software. This is our document management system that impacts clerks, the courts, friend of the court, human resources, health department, treasury, equalization. We have over 6.1 million documents in there as of today, and we get anywhere from hundreds to over 1,000 documents a day added to the system. For example, during the fair hiring process, when HR was out conducting a workshop and bringing in lots of people and processing a lot of documentation for onboarding, we had almost 1,300 documents added to the system that day. That is an unusually high number, but as we saw while the system was unavailable during the upgrade process, it is very painfully felt across the organization. Couple of challenges we have coming forward with that application are coming from external factors. The state is making changes to how they work with the courts, and they have their own version of OnBase that doesn't directly work with any of the counties that operate it. So how that's going to impact circuit court, friend of the court operations, we don't really know yet. So we're trying to make sure that we are as prepared as possible to deal with that once they come out with what their plan is going to look like, so that we can try to make sure that the continuity of our operations and how our staff are used to dealing with these document workflows continue to operate. In addition to just holding the documents, they also do a lot of workflow statements on it. So things that'll happen automatically where a document gets read in at one location and transferred to somebody else at a different location to try and ease some of the manual workload processes that happen in a lot of the court processes and clerk offices. So moving on from there, just some of the departmental goals and challenges coming up. Again, those major software lifecycle changes coming up on two of those three applications especially. Those costs are going up at just unprecedented rates. Across my career, I've never seen costs rising as fast as they have. Most of our current software packages are increasing between 5 and 10% per year at this point over the last 2 years. I don't see that slowing down in the next couple of years. And that's just to keep holding on to the functionality we have today. We have been making a lot of steps internally to streamline our processes. We recently cut out a software application, replaced it with some internal tools that my staff is working on for monitoring, that they came out with a 30% price upgrade year over year for the exact same system. There's just no way we could justify coming back and doing it at that price. So that is going to continue to be a focus for us moving forward and staying ahead on things. Keeping the staff development up and high. My team is in a very healthy place right now, knock on wood. But my team is doing well. We have people performing at a very high level. We've been very lucky to keep staff retention as high as we have. So it's just going to be to continue to drill down on that and make sure that we're able to be resilient both as a staff as well as our physical network and software network purposes. So any questions, I'd be happy to answer for you.
Any questions, board? Go ahead, Steve.
Just a personal question dealing with email folder. We're receiving voicemails in our email folders. Are those legitimate, or is somebody phishing, or should we open them and listen to them? What should we do?
Most of those are going to be phishing attempts. So what we can do is we have a standard format that we have for anything that we receive. The only time that you receive a voicemail from our system is if you have an actual extension with us, which nobody on the board has. So if you're seeing one, it's almost guaranteed to be a spam or phishing message.
Any other questions, board? If there are no other questions, need a motion and support to receive?
Move to receive the report.
Motion made by Pulaski, supported by Willis. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, passes the same, passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Facilities are up next. Facilities is up next. Good morning.
So before you is the seal coating of parking lots, seal coating and striping. Oh, sorry. Is that better?
Speak up.
Speak up? Okay. Didn't want to be too loud. The seal coating of multiple parking lots across the county with crack fill and line striping. Our parking lots are they're behind the times in getting brought up to speed. A lot of them, we have spider web cracks. A lot. So many of them that we can't even crack fill them. So we'll be back putting together a full capital plan of replacement over the next 5 to 10 years. That's coming. This is basically a Band-Aid to get us 2 to 5 years, depending. There's safety issues when we don't have the lines striped. It's difficult for staff to see where to park. If we don't fill the cracks, they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So we went with, we reached out to JDOT and their engineers and seen that they had they'd already vetted Wolverine Seal Coating as their seal coat and crack fill company for the year. As awarded to them. So we piggybacked off from them. That's why we went with Wolverine.
management recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion and support. All in favor indicate, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. This one is, this is for card access at Wesley Jail. Most of this is the administration side of the Wesley Jail, not the detention side. There are 2 doors in particular that kind of service both. So it does get a little tricky because we'll have our standard card access, but then we also have our detention grade locks on those 2 doors. So it has to work for both systems. They still need to be able to hit the microphone and call in, and person in the office be able to buzz them through, but also in event of emergency, sheriff can go through just swiping a badge. So it's, from that standpoint, it's a safety, but the admin side is much more of a security. Doors don't get locked. We have Codex button locks on a lot of them, so if there's a visitor or a trustee with the deputies, they have to essentially try to hide this box that's about this big as they punch their code in, versus just their ID badge that would buzz them through. We got multiple bids on this. Permar is and has been our vendor for card access for some time, so this aligns well with our system. Kind of the way this will be built in the background is Facilities has their system, which is countywide. This will be kind of a private offshoot. The sheriff will be able to control theirs. We would have an override if necessary as the account administrator, but we would stay out of the sheriff's card access. So that's what this one is.
Move to adopt the management recommendation. Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support to adopt the recommendation. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Passes unanimously.
Thank you. This one is the HSB floor coverings. So that building, Kristen with the health department notified me that she had a grant funding that we didn't want to lose. Has some specifics to what it can be spent on. Flooring is one of them. Hers has a sunset of 9:30, so it's kind of a get through it. But you only see one bid before you because the product that we're looking at is Power Bond. It is a highly regarded hybrid product that's used all over the place in industrial settings and hospital settings, office building settings. The one nice thing about it from a personal standpoint is the longevity of it. 20 to 30 years is pretty common with maintenance, but we've seen it as much as 40 plus with a good maintenance program. It is very much a commercial. It is not carpet squares. It has a vinyl back to it, and it's a chemically welded seam when they put them together. So it creates a monolithic surface. No liquid can go through it, which is a hygiene thing, especially at the HSB building. But we also know that it will hold up to the traffic. Putting it in allows us to get rid of the walk-off rugs, the rugs that get soaked and catch wheels or walkers and everything else. We won't have to have those anymore because the walk-off, the version of this is I call walk-off, or they call walk-off. It's a completely different design to the nylon fiber, and it works much better than any of the commercial rugs available to pull debris, liquid, salt off your feet, which helps getting through. Why you only see one is I reached out to 2 of our local vendors that we've used a lot, and speaking with both owners, they'd never heard of the product and assumed it was brand new. Tandis Sativus brought this product to market in 1967. So it's not really new. With that, we couldn't find anybody in the Jackson area that was familiar with it to even price it for us. That led us to talking to Bonnie Jacobs, who is the Target rep for this area, and she recommended this company out of Holt. If we need to, when I spoke to Deborah about it, if we want to get more bids on it, we either have to go to Detroit, Grand Rapids to start getting those, to get installers in. Holt is pretty close. It's not in Jackson County, but it's the closest we could get to anybody that's familiar with this product.
I would think it'd probably be a good move to get a couple extra bids, even if they are from Battle Creek or Detroit.
There's nobody in Battle Creek. I know Detroit has some.
Okay.
And
Other
Grand
areas,
Rapids.
you said there are other areas.
Yeah. Grand Rapids and Detroit are where the most are.
Okay. Just double check it and see where we are.
We can do that.
Sometimes our guys are high.
I will say that this quote came in probably 40 to 50% lower than where I anticipated it. I called the contractor to make sure that he had included labor and materials.
Well, in that case, I guess you have done due diligence. Board, what's your input? Anybody got any other ideas? You want to make a motion to accept this one?
I'll move to accept the staff recommendation.
All support.
Okay, moved by Walls to accept the recommendation, supported by Poleski. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously.
Thank you. I do think it'll be a much better flooring than we've put in at a lot of buildings. They're pulling it out of one of the Holt middle schools right now. It was installed in 1998, and the only thing wrong with it is the color scheme doesn't match their new renovation colors. So they're pulling it out. So it does hold up to time and abuse. So I'm excited to see it go in. That's all I got, I think.
Thank you.
Yep.
I can't hear him. Next up, we have Administrator, Controller's Office, update on policy 3210. You were Deb.
These two items are coming both at the request of HR. They're both HR-related policies that need updating. They have been through the normal review process, which includes presenting them to department heads and elected officials at our monthly meeting. So they've been through the normal process, and the red line version is what came out of that process. Samantha also attached, I believe, the final draft copy without the red line. So if you have any questions, happy to answer those.
Move to adopt the policy as
Support.
We have a motion by Poleski, support by Snell to adopt the policy. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same. Passes unanimously.
Same thing for policy 3160, came from HR, went through the normal process, and the red line version is attached.
You say what is it about 3116?
So the first policy was 3210. They both came from HR. 3160 is employee right to know. The red line version is attached. It went through the same process that we always go through, which is referring to our management team, and then we refer it to department head elected official. So they both went through the same process, and the red line version is what came out of that process.
Okay. We need a motion of support to accept that?
Move that.
Supported, this is a motion by Snell, supported by Pileski. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we will go to other business. It's time to pay the claims. Need a motion and support?
Support.
Moved by Pileski, supported by Walls to pay the claim. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, passes unanimously. Other minutes, there's nothing there to review. We have an attachment. We'll move on to public comment. No public comment. Committee member comment. I'd like to remind everybody that we have Administrator Overton's review after next Tuesday's meeting. Our main meeting, it'd be a closed session, so be ready for that. Any comments? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.